Where do you see all this going as you enter 2017 and AMA's position in guiding everything from here on out?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting year. 2016, probably from an industry's perspective, probably wasn't as good as we hoped it would be, but I think we're seeing that turnaround. We've had a good show here. Attendance has been up. The vendors and exhibitors seem to be fairly happy. So I think we're going to see a resurgence of activity in the RC hobby community in the coming year. And of course, with the evolution of the multi-rotor community and the continued exponential growth in that area, we see a lot of opportunities there, and we're pretty positive about going forward.
Well, let's talk about conventional model aviation for a moment. The progress made, the technological progress in the gear that's out there is beyond astonishing. Can this industry keep this up?
Well, it has for decades, so I don't see any reason why it won't continue to do that going forward. And, I've been a modeler for a long time, since I was a young kid, and I've seen the evolution of model aviation from the days when you literally had to build your own radio equipment to get a model airplane to fly. And, of course, the technology has improved as time has evolved with electric flight, with turbine-powered models, and today into the evolution of the multi-rotor community with that great new technology that comes along with that. And a lot of that technology, I think, is going to evolve into the traditional model aviation community. And, history tells us that 5 years, 6 years, 7 years from now, there'll be something new coming along that will also evolve into the model aviation aspect and improve the quality of what we fly now and what we'll fly in the future.
The big buzzword now and for the last few years has been drones. And granted, we started out with UAVs and everybody hated drones, but let's face it, it got shoved down our throats. It's drones, it's all it's going to be. We got to live with it. At CES, there was a tremendous amount of commercial activity, a lot of excitement, but there's no question that the personal hobby drone market was as strong as it's ever been and showed no signs of abating, and we're adding additional capabilities. The public perception of drones has been fairly positive, with the occasional bump here or there for folks concerned about where these things are going to go and privacy and this and that. Can the consumer personal drone industry continue to thrive in a world that sooner or later has to pick something to death?
Well, I think it can. And I think the challenges that we faced in the past were really public perception and a lack of understanding of what the technology is and what it can and cannot be used for. And of course, there was a lack of focus on all the good, positive aspects of the technology and what that brings to society. And I think we've seen a change in that in the last 6 months or so, where we're hearing more about the good the technology brings to society, what it can do relative to search and rescue, to its work in the agricultural community, to help in first responders. There's a plethora of good uses for the technology that really were overlooked in the past. So, there are still some concerns within the general public with privacy issues and things like that, but that's being addressed. And I think as the public becomes more aware and more educated about the technology itself, that those issues will go away.
Where do you see the FAA's role now, and how is it evolving? Are they doing a good job? And more important, if you could sit down with Mike Huerta right now, what 3 things would you be asking him for?
Of course, we had some concerns in the past with the direction that the FAA was taking, but at the same time, you have to understand that this was a tremendous challenge for them, and the technology has grown exponentially, the number of people getting involved exponentially, and the FAA has been trying to address that, maybe in too much of one global aspect. So I think our ask would be, remember that Model Aviation and AMA is an organization that's been around for 80 years. Our members fly under a safety program that's designed by our organization, and it includes things like sense and avoid, see and avoid, always yield to manned aircraft in the airspace, fly within visual line of sight. And in essence, it's worked for us well for those 80 years. And I think model aviation is probably one of the safest, if not the safest activity of anything that operates in the national airspace. So we would ask the administrator to be cognizant of that and remember that AMA members have a history of being safe and responsible, and that should be taken into consideration when they're going to be creating these regulations that are going to impact everyone.
Well, Dave, I've got to tell you, one of the things that excites us most about this particular partnership, the work I've seen AMA do, the quality of the staff, the way that you all work together has been second to none. And I love nothing better than working with the pros, so we're really excited to be working with you.
Well, thank you. And I have to say that, it's an honor and a privilege for me to be working with our staff every day of the week. And I can tell you that they are dedicated people that have the best interests of our members and model aviation at heart, and they give 110% every day.
Aero-TV is brought to you by In collaboration with NASC, introducing Sonix Aerospace, bringing you the Taros Group 4 UAS, the redesigned Tiger Shark Block 4, and the Subsonics Twinjet UAS, all derived from flight-proven manned systems, not concepts, real aircraft. More at sonixaerospace.com.